All right, let's get right into it, because this St. Patrick's weekend in Ireland's Premier Division, we've got an absolute cracker of a matchup. It's one of those classic contests, the unstoppable force meeting a super, super tough opponent. So, let's break this whole thing down.
You can just feel it, right? There's a real buzz around the league this year. I mean, even the league director, Mark Scanlon, called this season tantalizing, and he's not wrong. You've got more media coverage, more fans in the stands. It just feels like every single game means more.
And this weekend, there's one match in particular that really bottles up all that excitement. It's the perfect test, really. This isn't just for bragging rights. It's a game that could seriously start to shake things up at the top of the table.
So, what is the main event? It's a high-stakes clash between St. Patrick's Dublin and Derry City. And look, this is way more than just another weekend game. We're talking about a match with some real meaningful consequences for both of these clubs and their ambitions for the season.
So let's paint the picture. You've got St. Pat's flying high in second place, and they're looking to keep that pressure cranked up on the team at the top. And who are they hosting? A Derry City team that's sitting in sixth. But don't let that fool you. They know that a huge win on the road could catapult them right back into that top-tier conversation.
So let's get into the tail of the tape here. First up, Fortress Richmond Park. Seriously, St. Pat's biggest weapon might just be their home turf. It's become an absolute fortress for them, and visiting teams, well, they just don't have a good time there. And the numbers, wow, they really tell the story, don't they? I mean, just look at this, unbeaten in 27 of their last 30 home games. That is just ridiculous consistency. And it's not just that they're winning, it's how they're winning lately. They're averaging 3 goals a game in their last few at home while giving up practically nothing. They're not just scraping by, they are absolutely blowing teams away at Richmond Park.
Okay, but here's where it gets interesting. This isn't a one-sided story. Let's flip the tape and talk about Derry's road resilience. Because the visitors, Derry City, they've got a reputation of their own for being absolute nails to play against away from home.
Yeah, you really have to respect what Derry does on the road. They are just so well drilled. This is a team that knows exactly how to go into a tough stadium, soak up the pressure, and just grind out a result. They make life miserable for the home team.
And the proof is right there in the numbers. They're undefeated in 5 of their last 6 away games. It's like they've perfected the art of traveling. And the key thing to notice here is the goal difference. They're scoring about as much as they're conceding. That tells you they keep games tight. They don't need to score a bunch because they're so disciplined at the back. Their whole game plan is to frustrate you and find a way to get a point. Or all 3.
So, that's the big question, isn't it? What happens when a team that's practically unbeatable at home runs up against an opponent that has absolutely mastered playing on the road? Something's got to give.
And this really lays it all out, side by side. You've got the Fortress versus the Road Warriors. On one hand, you have the pure, attacking firepower of St. Pat's in front of their home crowd. And on the other, you've got the tactical, gritty, resilient Derry City, a team that seems to love playing the spoiler away from home.
But of course, a football match is never that simple, right? It's not just about home form versus away form. We've got other things to consider here, some real wild cards, and crucially, some key absences that could totally change the game. Just look at the last time these two played each other. It was an intense 2-2 draw. And what's fascinating is that Derry dominated the ball. They had way more possession. But St. Pat's, they were way more efficient, more clinical with the chances they got. It just goes to show you, these are two very different styles clashing, and that can lead to some really unpredictable stuff.
And this might be the biggest wild card of all: injuries. Both teams are missing some huge players. For St. Pat's, being without their midfield maestro Chris Forrester, I mean, that's a massive, massive loss. He makes everything tick for them. And for Derry, they're missing their starting goalie, Brian Marr, and an attacker in Liam Boyce. That's going to hurt them on both sides of the ball.
So, with those absences, here's how we think St. Pat's will probably try to line up. They're likely going to lean on a really solid, organized defensive shape. Think something like a 4-4-2 or maybe even a 5-3-2. Basically, they'll be relying on their system and the next man up to plug those holes, especially in the midfield.
All right, so we've looked at the home advantage, the away form, the injuries. But what happens when you feed all of that into a computer? Well, this is where football meets math, and we get a mathematical prediction.
We're looking at Forbed's statistical model here, and it's crunched all the numbers, the history between the teams, their current form, all the stats you can think of to figure out what's most likely to happen in this game.
And according to the algorithm, there's a pretty clear favorite. The model is leaning heavily towards the home team. It's giving St. Pat's a whopping 58% chance to win this thing. Derry City? Only an 18% chance. Even the draw is at 24%. So yeah, the data is basically saying there's a really, really good chance St. Pat's comes away with at least a point.
And it even gives us a predicted final score. The most likely outcome? A 2-1 win for St. Patrick's. And you know, that scoreline kind of makes sense, doesn't it? It reflects St. Pat's ability to score at home, but also respects Derry's knack for always finding a goal and keeping things close.
So there you have it. The numbers have spoken, but we all know football isn't played on a spreadsheet, right? That's the beauty of the game. So the big question is, will the math hold up? Will Fortress Richmond Park stand strong? Or are we about to see Derry City, the Road Warriors, crash the party and pull off a huge St. Patrick's weekend surprise? I guess we're all going to have to watch to find out.